project for everybody. Because when Phi Beta Delta becomes, when our little medallions become an anchor and drown us, then we're losing the point of the organization. This is supposed to be fun. I use the F word. This is supposed to be fun. When you join an organization and it's nothing but drudgery, you're not going to stay long. You're not going to rejoin. So there's got to be something that we do that makes people run to us and want to be with us and follow that parade. We need to be the Tom Sawyers. We need to make sure that everybody wants to paint the fence with us. If you understand that, for those of you who even know who Tom Sawyer is, but the idea behind that is that reactivating chapters takes actually more work than starting a chapter. Because you're not starting at 0, you're starting at -10. You got to bring it out of the ditch, you got to reawaken it, you got to dust it off, you got to figure out why it went to completely asleep. It's because nobody paid attention to it. Because it got to be drudgery. Because it got to be too much work. Because there wasn't a handoff to the next generation. This part, what John just said back there, is we get students to join, but then they don't come back. Why? Well, they got the medallion. What else do they need? If all we are is a medallion, then this is not what you want, is it? I don't think it is. We are so much more than that. The medallion is just sort of the outward manifestation. It's the prize that says, yes, we are committed to this, right, to the organization. But in fact, a lot of people just see us as a medallion. And to me, that's a problem. That's an image problem for this organization. Because the medallion, if the medallion goes away, does Phi Beta Delta stay around? Maybe for some chapters. But we have to be much more than a medallion. And I think that's how we have to start thinking about it, is what is it that we are going to offer to students so we're not just a medallion, but that they want to be engaged with us? What kinds of things do we offer our students? For those chapters that are kicking butt and taking names, how do you bring them? How do you keep bringing them back? What are your best practices that make people want to come and be part of this? Do you do dinners? Do you do celebrations? God, a hush falls over the room.
Scholarships.
Yeah, no, I am asking. Scholarships.
Yeah.
Okay, so scholarships. Okay, yeah. So reactivating chapter. So bait. Let's talk about this just for a second. I think I just have to put that. In the Phi Beta Delta world, our bait is the medallion. That is our shark bait. That's what we catch people with. People go, that is the coolest thing. How do I get one of those? So our second bait is scholarships, right? Correct?
Yes.
Now, is this primarily speaking for students, or are we speaking for anybody in the students, right? Because that's where our scholarships are.
I'm trying to figure out why. I want to know how we keep people engaged. It's not just students, it's faculty, it's staff, it's all of those, because it's an honors society, right? And we want it to be open and inclusive. But this is some of the bait that we use to get people to be interested in us. What else is bait?
Recognition for their service.
And just to piggyback on what the general says, it's recognition. When it comes from the top of the institution, and they're saying, this is great work that you're doing, people kind of flock to that, especially faculty members and staff. If the administration is on board, they will certainly
Right, yeah. I totally agree. I totally agree. I think having the administration on board is a big deal. You had another?
Earlier I said holding like activities like communities events, collaborating with the other clubs, organizations, campus.
Okay.
Create like a bonding between membership and the board members of the society.
So activities also with other organizations?
Yes,
Especially-
collaboration.
Co-sponsor.
Especially that are internationally themed or interculturally themed. And we
Right.
always collaborate with them in their
Have a
events.
debate with the UCLA and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So this is our bait. Do we need more bait? Is this enough?
We talked,
Go ahead.
we talked about that'll look good on your resume.
Okay,
So, our, whole retention, tenure, promotion, and
okay.
plus the
Resume.
idea of networking and expanding your opportunities for research.
Let me ask you, for those of you who have been in Phi Beta Delta for a period of time, tell me about, have you collaborated on research? Has that been a big thing for you? Okay, don't all jump at once. Okay, so I'm getting a feeling that we put that, networking, we put opportunities for research, but we're not doing that. I don't see us doing that. Networking, what kind of networking are we talking about? Are we talking about me having coffee with Anita?
Just getting to know one another at an induction ceremony.
Getting to know you, to know all about you. Well, wait, come on. But what does that do?
Well, a student meeting a faculty person in another discipline, for example, or just
Okay, so a student meeting a faculty person in another discipline.
Well, and I think it should be where we're hoping it goes for Long Beach, is that it would network our students, our staff, to share, or just to be able to show the different experiences or what's going on, and I think our networking, we kind of wanted it to be
Kind
more
of like a mentoring between the faculty and the students.
Yeah.
Okay, mentoring. Okay, that's a new one. I haven't heard that one before.
Because we just.
And I think too, forgive me because I am new to the society, and so this might be something that's already part of the base, but for me, one thing that I would like to see there is content. People should be drawn in by what they can take away from joining the group, whether it's different workshops, something that they can, knowledge that they can gain from those mentoring, those mentorships, the networking that they get.
Okay. I love this, but I think this is incredibly important. But remember, are we talking about students here? That mentoring or?
I think it could be in various ways, but students and faculty. Well, obviously the faculty would mentor the students, but the students could also make connections with the administration and with the staff, because maybe they're interested in certain avenues that the staff and the administration can help them with or provide information on.
Okay. So let me tell you, everything on here is great. And it is what we aspire to. The question for me, again, Robert?
Sorry to interrupt. You reminded me when you were talking about what do we have to offer with condolences or respect to our editorial chief, Michael Smitty. The journal itself is a good product, and I suggest that we think about putting maybe a student edition out and get a competition going for like best paper, and we say students like to publish, and we've seen some really great presentations here today. So
Yes.
if we kind of encourage that somehow, that would be a student-focused initiative based on something that we already have as a good model in addition to the to the medal. Just suggest, I haven't had a chance to talk to Michael about it, but.
Yeah, Michael, you have a new job.
Before,
Which may go back to the networking and mentoring with the student and faculty, right? For them to write a paper, there's
another question would be, what's in it for the administration, or what's in it for the university? What's the bait for them? If there is no chapter at University XYZ, what do they have to gain? Or what is it that, what would be that catalyst, what would be that bait, using that word, for them to say, I would like to put or create a chapter?
Competition.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, that's one reason I think you should have campus-wide rather than system-wide chapters. It's like, well, Fullerton has it, and we better, yeah. So it's one of those things that presidents really do. It's like, so we say that we're international, but this other group is like, well, yeah, but we've got this chapter, da da da. So you guys need to get on the bandwagon. Yeah.
So competition, I think that's a good one, yes?
I think because it's an honor society, so all the students are good students and they represent the university in a very, very well. So it's a chance for the university to be represented really, really well.
I also think that, I know from listening to our president, is that he believes in this concept of a global education. And so he's so on board with this already. I mean, I feel very lucky that we have somebody who walks the walk and talks the talk. So I think for a university that is aspiring to the global nature of education, this is one way to talk about it. Anything else? And the president gets a really cool medallion. Joy?
Ours is a very faculty-focused chapter, and so it's been the most phenomenal way for international researchers, those that have done Fulbrights, to come together. Otherwise, they might not have known of those experiences across campus. And it also, we're one of the few sources of funding for international speakers to come. And so that has given us a very advantageous position on campus.
I bet. Paul, you want another question?
Well, I think that having Phi Beta Delta, it helps to raise the level of awareness of international endeavors on campus. When you have a strong chapter that has faculty engaged in international activities, you're going to see these presentations, you're going to see collaboration among faculty, and these activities are going to go up the ladder. And at the moment that you go and knock on the door and request for resources, and I'm talking from the perspective of an administrator trying to promote the internationalization of the campus, that gives you legitimacy. That gives you those points that you will need. Okay, these people are doing something. There are results. And that is not just the work of the international office. Yesterday we heard a president that is motivated, and of course this is something that he believes, but that is also the work of the chapter, I would say. We have a chapter that is strong, that is a chapter that is doing good things, and that also helps to advance the internationalization. Joy?
The one other thing that I would add is that Phi Beta Delta is so well established now that we're beginning to see it on resumes when people apply for jobs. And it's having a tremendous impact on our campus. That immediately makes that candidate that much stronger when we see that on resume.
Very good.
I'm not so sure that this is a comment for this workshop where we're looking to work out some bugs and to improve like the chapter management, but perhaps for the board to take up at some point, and it's related to the competitiveness, where institutions said, oh, so-and-so is a part of this, maybe we should be a part of it too. In my experience, in doing some recruitment, potential chapters, they want to see those that they consider like within their same market basket, within those institutions, and within Phi Beta Delta, we have 3, maybe 4 different market basket areas. There's small institutions where Phi Beta Delta might be the only international or the largest international component on the campus. There are some huge institutions where it is but one of many. And so, like, how we figure out how to get more chapters involved, to me, we would have to tackle those kinds of issues. Mainly, how prospective chapters perceive that those that are of their same ilk, and whatever that ilk is, that they, they are coming on board.
Yes.
So it's not a...
Last week we received a visit from a university in our area, a university that is aspiring to grow their international program. So we had a discussion on, well, what do you do to recruit students? What is the structure of your office? What are you doing to, which markets are you targeting? These kinds of questions. But we took the conversation towards support. What are you going to do to gather this support? Because if you're just doing it out of your own initiative, out of your own effort, it's not going to fly. You need the support of the faculty. You need the support of the administration. And I pointed out, I took the conversation towards Phi Beta Delta. Phi Beta Delta is where you can gather this support that we're talking about. At Cal State San Bernardino, we're lucky to have some, what I call international pillars.
Yeah.
People that are working hard to promote the internationalization of the campus. And people like Rosalie, Dr. Winsley on the back, they do the work for us. And he, this particular person is like, okay, well, I'm trying to get it. So I think that this is something that we can, this is a message that we can send out.
Now, you bring up a great point. Hang on, just 1 second, John. And it is something that the board will be working on. But the reason I'm asking for this kind of information is I need something to start from. I need a place from which to start. I think Phi Beta Delta is a fabulous organization. I think it has done great things. I think it has a very promising future. But I want to know, what do you guys need? What do you need from the national office in terms of right now that we can start thinking of based on some of these things that we've just been talking about? That's kind of where I need some ideas, because there are a lot of things now that we're able to do that don't cost a lot of money. There are a lot of marketing things. Social media is a great way to extend your reach and get people interested. I can give you a perfect example. You know the cutouts that some people have? You can get a cutout of like President Obama, and have a picture. If you're in DC on Pennsylvania Avenue, there are these guys that have these cutouts of Obama, and you just stand there, and for $5 they give you a picture. Oh look, I was with the president. Okay, well, I'm here to tell you, if you do something at your chapter where you have a cutout of, who's the most popular person out there? Come on, anybody under 30, talk to me. Who's the most popular entertainer out there right now?
Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart?
Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon.
Sofia Vergara.
What I'm trying to get at.
Christina Aguilera.
Oh, where you? Okay, all right. The point of what I'm suggesting here is one of the things that we have done at Cal State is when we had a comedian come out. Okay, I can't even remember his name. It's the real heavy set.
Fluffy, Iglesias?
Iglesias. Okay, so we had a cutout of this guy. And so when students came to pick up their ticket for this, we took a picture of them standing next to Iglesias with our camera and with their cell phone. And we asked them to send it to their friends. We put it on our Facebook page, and so all of these students had pictures with Iglesias, right? And then they went and they put it on their own Facebook pages, and they tweeted it, and they put it out there, and they had it on Instagram. And guess what? It sold out.
Yeah.
It sold out. And that didn't cost us a dime, except for, the extra large poster board for you to print his picture. But the idea, there are techniques now that we can do to enhance people's interest to come, debate, bring them to events, whatever it is, through social media. What I need to know is, what do you need? Because there are things that we can start putting together, putting them, packaging them, sending them out. I'd love to hear about what's working at your organizations, why it's working, and how we can share those. The home office, we should be a clearinghouse for these great ideas.
So the obvious thing to me is either you have a blog or wiki analyst, or maybe all three, in order to collate good services. And when people, are not at this conference and they're asking for help, that they've got a way to do that that's efficient.
Okay, so
Because
So
I
what
don't
did you
know
just
that you
say?
guys have a listserv or not. I really don't know.
Okay, so part of, I agree. I think part of what we need is really to sort of get with the 21st century. Any conference that I've been to in the past 3 years, the minute you walk in, they give you, this is our tweet, this is our handle, this is what we're tweeting right now. We didn't have that at this conference. I didn't see us tweeting.
Social media is very effective, like you say. That is one thing that we definitely want to instill in our chapter is
Right.
Facebook, the tweeting. We did that for a multicultural dinner for our department, and you would not believe how many people were tweeting. Like you say, it spread like
Wildfire.
It did.
Yeah.
So social media is good.
Yeah. John, I'm sorry, I forgot to get back to you. I apologize.
I'll persist,
Good.
It strikes me something that I haven't thought of before, but it just, as you ask these questions, comes to my mind that this organisation has got some knowledge and some ideas and things that can be of value to administrators and to the people in the university who are working in the area of international education in general. And if we thought of ourselves as also being stakeholders who have a contribution to make to the development of policy in relation to international education in each university, and actually we're able to combine forces across universities that would strengthen that voice. And that could be a role that we could play that is not just about the individual people that come, but about the development of policy. Because some of the policy statements that I've heard referred to in the presentations of this conference have been a little disturbing to hear what policy leaders have been saying. And I think we've got a bigger vision, if you like, potentially of what international education could be about, and we could be a voice saying that. And I guess as a national organisation, we could be actually collaborating between different groups and coordinating those voices, and having some of the research that has been presented here at this conference, for example, go somewhere, not just sort of being presented here so that we hear it. That's the thought that crossed my mind just as you talked.
I like it. So shall we put a vote to the floor? John, would you like to be head of the policy, the newly formed policy committee? No, honestly, it's a fabulous idea, but it would take some work for us to put a policy team together, a committee, that would look at sort of an overarching ideas of international education. I am not poo-pooing this. I think it's a fabulous idea, but it's going to take a leader. It's going to take a champion to move in that direction, because that's a very thought-oriented, that's a thought leadership kind of endeavor. I love it. Let's do coffee. I'm not getting into it. Anyway, we are in fact running out of time on this. We sort of shortchanged you on the workshop management. What I would really like to do is to have you guys know that this coming year, that this is something that I think the board's going to put a lot of focus on. Is because, as we say in marketing, it is much easier to keep a customer happy than to go out and find new customers. It takes a lot more energy to do that than to keep something going. And revitalizing chapters and making them stronger, making them more visible to the administration, all of these have positive consequences that I think enhance our bait and make us more valuable, not only to the campus, but to the students, the faculty, and also to each other. You know, let's face it, for the most part, we're Americans. Anybody here want to be on a losing team? Heck no. We all want to be on a winning team. There's nothing better than walking in some place, someone says, so what's your medallion? Phi Beta Delta. Oh, that's a really cool organization. Yes, I know. I'm a member, right? We want that kind of stimulation. We want people to be very proud of the fact that they're part of Phi Beta Delta. And so I would like to see us as an entire organization, as a group, not just the board, but all of our chapters, to show us, you know, what makes us Phi Beta Delta? What are we proud of? You know, why are you part of Phi Beta Delta? I mean, I'm happy to start a campaign, sorry, Ray Lane, but that we could literally post on our website, on Phi Beta Delta, why I'm a member, why I'm proud of this, little photo snaps, Instagram, things that get people to look at us, to talk about us. Why are you, Andre, why are you a member?
I was inducted when I went to Thailand with Rosalie, and I presented some material in my research in Thailand about Ann Lowe, an African American costume designer and fashion designer, and that scholarship led me in.
So recognition.
It's a personal contact.
I think recognition and a space to talk to others, understand what you're talking about.
And the
Right.
scholarship, the
Scholarship.
and money.
Right, so he's got the trifecta, right? Connection, scholarship, recognition.
Oh, good.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And he dresses well too, look at him.
Yeah, he's really cool.
This guy is so cool.
Okay.
He's a natural overseas.
So, yeah, please don't ignore that.
Thank you.
But the money that came from that was institutional money.
Yes.
In other words, it wasn't Phi Beta Delta money
No.
that sent him overseas. It was our Professors Across Borders money. So there have to be multiple entities working together. Phi Beta Delta on our campus has had money for scholarships, and I still remember when we added that component. That was a very big deal to try to dig up money for scholarships, and that's wrong.
But we're down here, and there are many voices, and the administrators with the money, they're up there, so we're shouting, and but it's the
that
same
shout-
voice.
Yeah, that shouting has already been heard at our campus. In other words, we begged, borrowed, stole, and that funding became institutionalized, is now increasing as budgets come and go.
Yes.
But that source is, for the moment, who knows? But for the moment, very solid. And combined with Phi Beta Delta, there's like a support base. It's a trampoline effect that allows the professors to jump up and do things.
So as an example, the professor goes to Thailand, comes back, presents our function. Our faculty have a gathering place where they interact, where they can be mentored, where they can talk. We bring our donors. Our donors see what is happening, that we're doing things right, and then donations follow. Because as Astrid is saying, nobody wants to be in the losing team. And that's why at least our chapter has been successful in securing money and a strong endowment. I'm not going to talk about here, but it's going well.
Andre?
And additionally, it was important for our campus when yes, we took 12 students, I believe. We took liberal arts, art majors, and visual arts and performing majors to participate in a international conference. And we were the only institution from America that was at that conference in Thailand. So I think what you're saying here, what that marketing strategy is, how do you benefit the students, how do you engage them, how do you include them? And when you have evidence of that effort, I think that's very important.
So what is it that makes this happen? Is it all of these things coming together, or is it a champion on each campus? Someone who takes the reins and says, this is where we're going to breathe our energy, our life. Joy, do you know?
I know in many cases it's a champion, but then when that person retires or takes another job, you have a significant void. And so it's that transition, from perhaps that one initial person. It has to be a campus-wide effort.
And I think a good suggestion, if the Phi Beta Delta chapter is not connected to the international office, it may be a good idea to have it, because that gives it continuity. It can be burning. I mean, it can be exhausting to be leading Phi Beta Delta on your own. I mean, faculty are overwhelmed with teaching research service. So this is where the international office, or at least in our campus, where it comes. That legwork has to come from somewhere, and also resources.
Yes.
I think the other key is, no matter how well intentioned and how much effort we put in collectively, if a key leadership person in the administration of your campus is not supporting and championing this kind of work, you spin your wheels a lot of the time because your resource base is so much more limited. And so it's wonderful at the campus at San Bernardino that you have a president who is very supportive and very vocal about that.
Yeah.
Some say they are, but when you want to look for the buck is not there.
So what we did a few years ago, we brought the Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs to the board, one of the academic deans there. So yeah, that bench strength, those
Bench strength. And the way I'm describing it here is
That's
making
huge.
sure we have that development, that we don't, the greatest person, then they retire and it's like this void.
As a marketing strategy, the 30-year anniversary of Phi Beta Delta is coming up. So what can we just have like as part of our signature line on emails or whatever, social media, whatever, that is going to celebrate our 30 years. And it'll be out there for thousands to see.
Love it. Nice. I love these little brain things that are just downloading here.
And it coincides, if we go to NASA and combine our conference, it makes the language, the story makes sense. We're going back in a way to the origin of Phi Beta Delta. Perhaps that can be part of the language. I don't know.
Yes, because, no, just on that regard, Marian B yesterday mentioned that it was like NAFTA when they talked with Blankenship.
Blankenship made the case for Phi
So it
Beta
makes a
Delta.
nice quick 12 foundational narrative.
Foundational narrative, I like that.
Yesterday the president was talking that he had contact with the Allen Goodman.
Right.
Okay.
IIE, yes.
Maybe he could, that he wanted to bring it to the campus, but involve, several universities so that we can go. Maybe Phi Beta Delta might want to partner with him so that you guys can also bring in. That would be, you will celebrate your 30th birthday. I mean, this would be just one of you who could partner with him, but you could be the lead and help them actually make this happen.
That could be a regional.
Be a regional, you bring everybody, he will attract a lot of people, and your name will be all over the place because, you were the one who partnered with it. Put it as an honorary member,
I don't know. Yvonne, is Alan Goodman from IID, is he an honorary member of Phi Beta Delta?
Who?
Alan Goodman.
No.
CEO of Institute of International Education.
No.
No?
Maybe.
Maybe he should be.
There we go.
Maybe he should be.
Yeah. So maybe that's a great idea.
It's, what is it, 2 years until the 30th anniversary?
No, it's next year.
2016?
Our next conference is going to be the 30th anniversary. That's what we're going to be celebrating, right?
wouldn't it be awesome if, because it started at Long Beach, that we could, like the Alpha chapter could be the host of the 30th, or would it need to be? Now, I don't know that we can. It may need to.
Only in recent history, we had it at Long Beach. Was it the 25th?
The 25th.
The 25th anniversary was at Long Beach.
Was it actually there? Because I thought we were inactive.
And Blankenship came and so did Carl Anatol.
Okay.
Yeah, 25th.
Okay.
And it was there in 93.
Okay. All right. I'm going to wrap this up, but I had a couple of quick questions for you. If we were able to put something together through the national chapter, maybe even with NAFSA, I want to talk to the board about it, but maybe sort of a leadership workshop for you, for your chapters to come and send 1 or 2 people for like a weekend to get down and dirty and learn some things and take some things home. Would that be of interest to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Anybody else interested in that, or? Okay, so it'll be a very small group. Okay. So coming to a workshop in the summer is not of interest. Is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing? Anita, just look at me. Just don't look down. What do you want?
It needs to be new blood in our chapter. I think I'm already committed, so
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, who would that be?
Okay. Here's what I see in Phi Beta Delta. There's an old story. The farmer wants breakfast.
What?
The farmer.
Okay.
The farmer in the Dell wants breakfast. And he wants bacon and eggs. The chicken is involved, but the pig is committed. Think about that. So my question to you is, are you a chicken or are you a pig? If you're a chicken, you lay eggs and you still live. If you're the pig and he wants bacon, you're committed. Okay? Are we chickens or are we pigs? And I like what Anita says, is that we need new blood. So possibly one of the assignments for your individual chapters is how are you going to bring some new blood in that then we can bring to a workshop and then just slaughter them like pig. No, it's a terrible analogy. But so that we can bring them in and get them committed at a very deep level as well. I mean, Anita, if you're committed, the reason you're committed is you get value out of this. We don't commit to anything we don't find valuable. We just don't. That includes marriage, and a lot of other things, right? If we want commitment, we have to have respect and value, and we have to want to be part of this. And we get something out of it. It doesn't drain us. It makes us more than the sum of our parts. That's why we join. That's why we're interested in this. So that's what I'm asking from everybody, is that this is not something that the national office, we can drag you over the finish line. We are all in this together. And part of that is sharing some of these ideas and having, Anita call up and say, I just met a new professor on campus. I think we should make a play for this guy. We need to get him involved. We need to dangle a medal in front of him. We need to, see how we can get him involved in doing research and looking at grants. We have to do things like that to be of value so people don't come and pay their bucks, get the medallion, and then hit the road.
A piece of this that I think might be at least very workable in the Sacramento campus is when Alan Goodman is coming, this idea, speaking tour is too formal, but if we could get him to our campus, for example, so we could advertise that this person from Institute for International Ed is going to be here sponsored by Phi Beta Delta chapter. I think that idea is something we can promote very easily. I think it would draw from a wide range of students and faculty and staff on the campus. Mm-hmm. So that would be a piece that we could do relatively easily.
Okay. Okay. Any other ideas before I close this? This feels very open-ended, obviously. You know, when you have 35 minutes, you're not going to get a tremendous amount done. But I just want everybody to stimulate their thinking, because we're coming to a crossroads here. We're coming up on our 30th. Are we still relevant? Are we needed? Or should we take our medals and go home? Some of you are out there saying, yeah, maybe. Others are going, no, give up my precious Phi Beta Delta. I think we have a great future. I really do. But it's not something that if you want a great future, I need leaders to do this with me. This is not something I can drag anybody over the finish line with. I need all of your expertise. You know how to get in touch with me? It's very simple. What was that famous line? You know how to whistle, don't you? Put your lips together and blow. Whistle. Astrid at csusb.edu. If you've got ideas, I don't care, in the middle of the night and you just have like this brain download, send it. We should start collecting those. We should find a way to distribute them to all the memberships so we can get a dialogue going. We need energy, we need oxygen, we need new members. We need to really promote this. And it's going to take a lot of pushing. It's going to take a champion at each campus. Not just a champion in the national office, a champion at each campus that says, we want to move this forward. And it's doable. It is doable. Tell me about NAFSA. NAFSA started off as a little thing?
Well, it's how many years? 50 years?
National Association for Foreign Student Advisors in the beginning, 1948.
Okay, so they got a few years on us. But now where are they? Where are their headquarters?
Washington, D.C., 10,000 members all over the world, knowledge communities, the premier organization for international educators. But there are spin-off groups from NAFSA that have been created that are more focused. And one of the strongest ones is the Association of International Education Administrators, who are the senior international officers on campuses throughout the world. So those are
So they make themselves
groups.
very relevant.
Indeed.
And that's, if we're going to aspire to anything like that, if we're going to aspire to join up with NAFSA, if we want to just continue on to have a life, we have got to start thinking a little bigger than where we are. And we have to all make a commitment to do this, okay? Because if we stand still, we're going backwards.
There's also an organization, and my understanding is it's also a spin-off of NAFSA called CIATAC, Society for International
Education, Training, and Research.
Thank you, yes. And they have a USA branch. Are you a member of that association?
In the past.
In the past. So.
I didn't drop out because I didn't like it. I had other roles.
But I'm saying there's other organizations we could maybe think about partnering with.
Yeah, and I like that. If, again, we'll start a list. We'll start a conversation. And if that's all we're doing right now, I'm fine with that. Let's start talking. Let's start airing and getting some things out on the table, because that's how we're going to get oxygen into this discussion and moving the organization forward. So we're out of time. So Raylene, can you tell us a little bit about logistics? Where's everybody going? When do we need to be back?
Yes. Well, everybody's going to get a quick lunch. Now we're back to the schedule of this Yoshi. So we'll start our session number 9, special places, special stories, starting at 1 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Half an hour.
Yep, 1:40. That will be the panel.
It's not going to work, Raylene. You know that, right? Can we try like 1:15, 1:20, something? I mean, even if we.
You got a 10 minutes break. Yeah, you get a 2:40 to 2:50, 10 minutes break.
Okay, so let's skip the break.
Yeah.
Let's say everybody be back by 1:15.
Yes.
And let's start it at 1:15 because
And then skip the break. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it could take me 30 minutes to figure out what I want to eat.
Just add the buffet.
Oh, there you go. Thank you for your participation.
Chapter management did draw